They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I've let mine freeze for 5 years. Tonight, I'm finally hungry. I stand at the floor-to-ceiling windows of my penthouse, watching rain streak down the glass like tears I no longer cry. Red wine swirls in my crystal glass, a vintage that costs more than my old farmhouse was worth. My reflection stares back at me. Alina Hart, CEO, Forbes 30 under 30, woman who built an empire from nothing. But that's not who I've always been. My phone buzzes, a text from my assistant. They just arrived at the gala. A smile curves my lips. It's not a kind smile. Time to go to work. The morning my world started like any other. I was making breakfast in our tiny farmhouse kitchen in rural Kentucky, humming some song I'd heard on the radio. The sun was barely up, but I'd always been an early riser. Marcus used to say he loved that about me, how I filled our mornings with light. That morning, I was believing the lie that we were happy. The door banged open. Marcus stumbled in, and my heart sank before my mind could catch up. He smelled like whiskey and something else, perfume, floral and expensive. Not mine. I wore drugstore body spray because it was all we could afford. At least that's what he always told me. Marcus, you were supposed to be at the feed store last night. I kept my voice gentle, the way I'd learned to speak to him. Soft, non-threatening, small. God, I'd made myself so small for him. Don't start, Alina. He grabbed coffee without looking at me, and that's when I saw it, the smudge of red lipstick on his collar, bright as a wound. My hand trembled as I set down the spatula. What kind of business wears red lipstick? His face went hard. He slammed the mug down so hard I jumped. You want to know? Fine, I'm suffocating here. In this house, in this pathetic life with you and your small-town dreams. The words hit like fists. But I'd given up so much for him. A full scholarship to Northwestern, my dreams of becoming a journalist, my entire future. I'd stayed in this town because he said he needed me, that we'd build something beautiful together. I gave up college for you, I whispered. My scholarship, too. Nobody asked you to. You think I wanted a martyr for a wife. Then the kitchen door opened. Vanessa walked in. My cousin, my baby cousin who I'd helped raise after her mother died, who I'd tutored through high school, who'd cried in my arms at my grandmother's funeral just last week. She was wearing Marcus's jacket. Time stopped, or maybe my heart did. I looked between them, watching understanding crash over me like freezing water. The late nights, the business trips, the way he'd stopped touching me 6 months ago, the whispered phone calls he thought I didn't hear. Vanessa, my voice sounded strange, distant. You were at Grandma's funeral. You held my hand. You told me everything would be okay. She shrugged, actually shrugged. I told you what you needed to hear. Marcus and I have been together for 2 years, Alina. Everyone in town knows except you. 2 years. We'd been married for 4. But we've been trying to have a baby, I said stupidly, like logic mattered anymore. You said you wanted. Marcus laughed. It was cruel, that sound. I never wanted kids with you. Christ, can you imagine? Trapping more people in this dead-end life. He pulled papers from his jacket and tossed them on the table like they were garbage. Divorce papers. I'm taking the house, it's in my name anyway. The truck, the savings account. You can keep your grandmother's jewelry, what little it's worth. The savings account. My inheritance. $23,000 my grandmother had left me specifically for education, for my dreams. The money she'd spent her whole life saving. That's my inheritance, I breathed. Grandma left me that money for. For what? Vanessa's laughter was like glass breaking. Community college. Marcus and I are moving to Atlanta, starting fresh. You should thank me, really. I'm doing you a favor, Now you can stop pretending you were ever good enough for him." I looked at Marcus then, really looked at him, searching his face for something, regret, guilt, any shred of the man who'd promised to love me forever in front of God and everyone we knew. "Marcus, we said vows, I love you, I've given you everything." His eyes were empty. "Then you're a fool." He kissed her, right there, in the kitchen where I'd made him breakfast every morning for 4 years. Kissed her deeply, deliberately, making sure I saw every second of it. Vanessa's laughter echoed as they left together. I stood there alone, shaking, tears streaming down my face onto that ridiculous floral dress I'd sewn myself, because we couldn't afford new clothes. The morning sun mocked me through the windows. My hand moved to my stomach, a protective gesture for the baby I'd hoped for, the future I'd imagined. All of it gone. But then something shifted inside me, something cold and sharp and new. I wasn't broken. I was forging. I spent one night on that kitchen floor, just one, crying until I had nothing left. At dawn, I stood up. My grandmother used to say I had city fire in me, that I was meant for more than this small town, these small dreams. I'd forgotten that. I'd let Marcus convince me that wanting more was selfish, that ambition in a woman was ugly. But burning down sometimes means you can rebuild from the ashes. I took the divorce papers to a lawyer in the next county, someone who wouldn't gossip. Turns out Marcus had forged my signature on documents transferring my inheritance. Theft. Fraud. The lawyer said I could press charges, fight for what was mine. "How long would that take?" I asked. "Years, maybe. And you'd have to stay here, face them every day in court." I looked out his window at the town where everyone had known Marcus was cheating, and nobody had told me. Where Vanessa walked around wearing my stolen money on her fingers. "Let him have it," I said. "All of it." The lawyer looked at me like I was crazy. I sold my grandmother's jewelry, not for much, but enough. Enough for a bus ticket and first month's rent somewhere far away. Enough for a chance. I left Kentucky on a Greyhound with one suitcase and $600 to my name. I never looked back. New York City swallowed me whole, and I was grateful for it. I worked 3 jobs, waitressing at a diner during breakfast and lunch, cleaning offices at night, and somewhere in between I studied. I'd get 3, maybe 4 hours of sleep, then do it all again. I took free business courses online, watched every TED Talk, read every book I could steal from the library. I learned about tech, about startups, about how money really moves in this world. 6 months in, I talked my way into an entry-level position at a tiny tech startup. They barely paid me, but I didn't care. I absorbed everything, coding, marketing. Investor pitches. I made myself invaluable. When the founder's partner tried to sabotage a deal, I was the one who caught it, saved the company. "You've got instinct," the founder told me, "and you're hungry in a way people who have never had nothing never are." He promoted me, then again, then again. I learned to dress like I belonged in boardrooms, learned to speak like my opinion mattered, learned that the girls who'd called me country trash in high school had been right about one thing: I was different. I was harder. I was willing to do whatever it took. 3 years after leaving Kentucky, our startup was acquired for $50 million. My share was enough to start my own company. Hart Industries launched 6 months later, a consulting firm that helped rural businesses modernize. I knew that world, understood it, and I was ruthless about growth. Within 2 years, I'd expanded into real estate development, tech investing, and private equity. Forbes called me a disruptive force in American business. The Wall Street Journal ran my photo with the headline, "From Kentucky farmhouse to corner office, The meteoric rise of Alina Hart. I cut the article out, sent it anonymously to Marcus's mother's address in Kentucky. Let them know what they'd thrown away. But that wasn't enough. It would never be enough. Because late at night, when the city went quiet, I still remembered his face when he called me a fool. Still heard Vanessa's laughter. Still felt the humiliation of standing in that kitchen, wearing a homemade dress, believing love mattered more than power. I'd learned better. And I'd learned that revenge isn't about destroying someone in a moment. It's about building yourself into something so far above them that their destruction becomes inevitable, almost casual. I started researching. It wasn't hard. Marcus and Vanessa had social media, and they weren't careful. They'd moved to Atlanta like they'd planned. Marcus worked at a mid-level marketing firm. Vanessa had burned through my inheritance on a boutique that failed within a year. They were struggling, fighting based on Vanessa's passive-aggressive Facebook posts, living in a cramped apartment, drowning in debt. They'd thought stealing from me would give them a new life. Instead, they'd gotten exactly what they deserved, each other. But I wanted more than their mediocrity. I wanted them to know it was me, to see what I'd become, to understand the magnitude of their mistake. So I waited, watched, planned. And when Marcus's company announced they were seeking investors to avoid bankruptcy, I knew it was time. The charity gala is at the Ritz-Carlton in downtown Atlanta. Black tie, $500 a plate, all of Atlanta's elite pretending they care about literacy programs. I arrive alone, because powerful women don't need accessories. My dress costs more than Marcus's monthly salary. My shoes are Louboutin. My jewelry is real, no more drugstore anything. I look like money. I look like power. I look like someone Marcus Cole would never recognize. The ballroom is all crystal chandeliers and false laughter. I accept a champagne flute from a waiter and scan the crowd with practiced ease. There. Marcus is near the bar, looking uncomfortable in a suit that doesn't quite fit. He's gained weight, lost hair. There are lines around his mouth that weren't there 5 years ago, the kind that come from constant stress, constant disappointment. Next to him, Vanessa looks harder. Her dress is trying too hard, her makeup slightly desperate. She's still beautiful, but it's a fatting beauty, like fruit just starting to turn. They're arguing in whispers, the kind of fight long-term couples have in public, vicious but contained. I feel nothing looking at them. That surprises me. I'd expected rage or satisfaction or something. Instead, there's just cold purpose. I'm halfway across the room when someone intercepts me. Richard Blackwood, Marcus's CEO. Mid-50s, desperate eyes. Ms. Hart, I'm so glad you could make it. I know you're considering our proposal. Mr. Blackwood, I smile, the one that makes investors nervous. We'll talk business Monday. Tonight is for charity. Of course, of course. Let me introduce you to some of our key people. He's already steering me toward the bar, and I let him. Toward Marcus. This is Marcus Cole, one of our senior marketing managers. Marcus, this is Alina Hart, CEO of Hart Industries. Marcus turns, extends his hand automatically. Ms. Hart, it's a pleasure to. He freezes. Our eyes meet. I watch the recognition hit him in stages. First, the familiarity, something about my face that his brain registers. Then confusion, where does he know me from? Then the impossible truth crashing down. His hand drops, his face goes white. Elena. My smile doesn't waver. I'm sorry, do we know each other? You, what? He can't form sentences, it's beautiful. Vanessa appears at his elbow, predatory instinct sensing something wrong. Marcus, what's... She sees me. I watch her go through the same process, only faster. Vanessa was always sharper than Marcus. "Oh my God," she whispers. "I don't believe we've met," I say pleasantly. "I'm Alina Hart, and you are." You know who we are," Marcus finally manages. "Alina, what is this?" Richard looks between us, confused. "You know each other." "Apparently not," I say lightly. "Though you seem to think you know me. I get that sometimes, one of those faces, I suppose." I turn to Richard. "About that investment proposal. I've reviewed the numbers and I think we should move forward." Richard's face lights up. "Really? That's incredible news. We've been hopping." "On one condition," I interrupt, my eyes still on Marcus. "I want full operational control. My team will audit every department, implement new management structures. Some positions will be restructured." Marcus's face goes from white to gray. "Of course," Richard is practically salivating. "Whatever you need, you'll be saving the company." "I know." I finally look away from Marcus, dismissing him. "We'll sign Monday. Congratulations, Mr. Blackwood. Your company's future just became very secure." Richard pumps my hand, already pulling me away to meet other people, to celebrate. I glance back once. Marcus and Vanessa stand frozen by the bar, watching me move through the crowd like I own it. Because I do. Monday morning, I walk into Marcus's office building like I own it. Because now I do. My team is ruthlessly efficient. Within a week, we've identified every inefficiency, every waste, every person who doesn't pull their weight. Marcus's department is hemorrhaging money. Bad campaigns, missed deadlines, lost clients. I call him to my temporary office, the corner suite that used to be Richard's before I strongly suggested he retire early. Marcus enters looking like he hasn't slept. "Good." "Sit," I say without looking up from my tablet. He sits. I let the silence stretch, still reading. When I finally look up, he flinches. "Your department has cost this company $700,000 in the last year alone," I say conversationally. "Failed campaigns, broken client relationships, lawsuits from false advertising claims. It's impressive, actually, the level of incompetence." "Alina, please." "Ms. Hart," I correct. "In professional settings, Mr. Cole, we use professional forms of address." His jaw clenches. There it is, the flash of anger. The Marcus I remember, who hated being contradicted, controlled. "Ms. Hart," he says tightly, "I can explain the numbers. The market has been difficult and—" "The market has been exceptional. Every competitor in your space is up, just not you." I lean back in my leather chair, the kind he'll never afford. "Tell me, Mr. Cole, do you enjoy working here?" Yes, I've been here 6 years. 6 years of mediocrity, 6 years of coasting, 6 years of doing the bare minimum while collecting a paycheck. I pause. "It's interesting. That's exactly how long you've been with Vanessa, isn't it? 6 years total, too, while you were married to someone else, 4 after." His face flushes. "That's personal. It has nothing to do with—" "Doesn't it? See, I've noticed a pattern, Mr. Cole. You're attracted to potential in companies, in women. You see something with promise and you attach yourself to it. But you don't build anything. You don't put in the work. You just extract. And when there's nothing left to take, you're confused about why everything has fallen apart." I stand, walk to the window. Atlanta sprawls below us, glittering and indifferent. "I could fire you right now," I say quietly. "For cause, no severance, no references, you'd be unhireable in this industry." "Alina." "But I'm not going to do that." He blinks. Hope flickers in his eyes, and I hate him for it, for thinking I'm still the soft girl who loved him. "Instead, you're going to resign, effective in 2 weeks. You'll tell everyone it's for personal reasons. I'll provide a neutral reference, nothing glowing but nothing that destroys you. And you'll leave Atlanta, not Kentucky, somewhere else. Somewhere I never have to hear your name again. I can't just leave. Vanessa and I have an apartment, debts. That's not my problem. I turn to face him. Here's what is my problem. You stole from me. Not just money, time, dreams, the person I could have been if I hadn't wasted 4 years making myself small enough to fit into your mediocre life. You don't get to do that and then stay in my city, working at my company, breathing my air. Your city. His anger flares fully now. You think because you lucked into some money, you own Atlanta. You own me. I smile. I don't think it, Marcus. It's just true. And it wasn't luck. It was 5 years of working harder than you've ever worked in your entire life. 5 years of becoming someone you couldn't even imagine being. I built this. I earned this. You're doing this because you're bitter, he spits. Because Vanessa and I found real love and you. I'm doing this because I can. The simplicity of it shuts him up. Because when you have power, you get to choose what happens to people who hurt you. And I'm choosing this. Resign, leave, disappear. Or I'll destroy you so thoroughly you'll wish you had. He stares at me like I'm a stranger. I am. You have until Friday to decide, I say. Close the door on your way out. He doesn't move for a long moment. Then he stands, walks to the door, pauses. The Alina I married wouldn't do this, he says quietly. The Alina you married doesn't exist anymore, I reply. You killed her. This is who crawled out of the grave. He leaves. I pour myself a drink from the office bar and call my assistant. Send Vanessa Reeves up, please. Time for round 2. Vanessa enters with her chin up, defiant. She's always had more spine than Marcus. Alina, she says flatly, no pretense. Vanessa, thank you for coming. Like I had a choice. You own half of Atlanta now, apparently. Only the parts worth owning. I gesture to the chair. Sit. She does, crossing her arms. What do you want, to gloat, to tell me how you've won? I want to understand something. I lean forward. Why? We were family. I loved you. I would have done anything for you. For the first time, something flickers in her expression. That's exactly why. I don't understand. She laughs, bitter. Of course you don't. Perfect Alina, who everyone loved, who got the scholarship, the attention, the future. Do you know what it's like being your cousin, your shadow? I never. Your grandmother left you everything. Did you know that? I was there when she was dying, too. Held her hand, brought her tea. But every dime went to you. Every memory, every keepsake. You were the golden child, and I was just there. The words hit harder than I expected. She helped pay for your community college. A consolation prize. And Marcus? Vanessa's eyes glitter. He was the first thing that was supposed to be yours that I could take. That's what started it, seeing if I could. Seeing if perfect Alina could lose something for once. The truth tastes like ashes. So you destroyed my marriage to prove a point. I destroyed your marriage because I could, because I was tired of being invisible, because just once I wanted to be the one someone chose first. She leans back. And then we spent your inheritance and it didn't fix anything. Marcus resented me for pushing him to leave you. The money ran out. The boutique failed. Everything turned to shit anyway. Good, I say simply. She flinches. You wanted me to lose something? Fine, you won. I lost my marriage, my money, my trust in people. But here's what you didn't count on. I lost my kindness, too. My mercy. All those soft parts you exploited. They're gone. So what now? You fire me from my job? Oh wait, I don't have one. You take my apartment. I'm 3 months behind on rent. There's nothing left to take, Alina. I slide a folder across the desk. She opens it, frowns. What is this? A job offer. In Seattle. Marketing position at a company I have connections with. $60,000 a year, benefits, relocation assistance. Her head snaps up. What? You wanted to be seen, Vanessa? Fine, I see you. I see a woman who was hurt and made terrible choices because of it. I see someone who destroyed herself trying to hurt me. I pause. I'm giving you a chance to leave, to start over, to become someone other than the woman who stole her cousin's husband. Why? She looks genuinely baffled. After everything I did. Because revenge doesn't mean I have to become you. Because my grandmother would be disappointed if I kicked you while you're down. Because, I take a breath. Because maybe the best revenge is proving I'm nothing like the people who hurt me. Tears slip down her cheeks. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't matter, but I'm. You're right, it doesn't matter. My voice is flat. Take the job or don't. But if you stay in Atlanta, if you go anywhere near Marcus, if you try to contact me ever again, this offer disappears. And next time I won't be generous. She nods, clutching the folder. Thank you. Don't thank me, just leave. She does. I'm back in my penthouse, the same window where this started. Rain streaks the glass, but I'm not watching it this time. Marcus resigned, moved to Phoenix. Heard through the grapevine he's tending bar now, telling people he used to be somebody. Vanessa took the job in Seattle. Haven't heard from her since. The company I saved is thriving. My reputation as a turnaround specialist has brought in 6 new clients. Hart Industries is worth 3 times what it was when I started this. By every measure, I've won. So why does it feel hollow? My assistant buzzes. Ms. Hart, there's a woman here to see you. Says she's from Kentucky, won't give her name. My heart stutters. Send her in. The woman who enters is in her 70s, carrying herself with the dignity of rural people who have worked their whole lives. It takes me a moment to place her. Mrs. Cole, Marcus's mother. Elena, she says quietly. Mrs. Cole, this is unexpected. I won't take much of your time, I just wanted to say something. She sits without being invited, and I respect that. Marcus called me last week, drunk, crying, telling me everything was your fault. I see. I told him he was an idiot. She meets my eyes. I knew what he did to you, the whole town knew. I wanted to say something at the time, but, well, he's my son. I'm ashamed to say I chose wrong. I don't know what to say. You were good for him, she continues. You made him better, and he threw it away because he's weak like his father was weak. Men like that don't change. She stands. I just wanted you to know not everyone in that town was glad to see you hurt, and I'm glad you got out, glad you became this. She gestures around the office. Thank you, I manage. She walks to the door, pauses. One more thing, your grandmother would be proud, not of the money or the power, of the fact that you survived. That's harder than people think. Then she's gone. I sit alone in my office as the sun sets over Atlanta. Mrs. Cole is wrong about one thing. My grandmother wouldn't be proud of all of this. She'd worry I'd become too hard, too cold. That in becoming powerful enough to never be hurt again, I'd lost the ability to feel anything at all. Maybe she'd be right. My phone rings, a number I don't recognize. Hart. Ms. Hart, this is Jennifer Chen from Women's Outreach Atlanta. We received your donation, $5 million for education scholarships for rural women. I wanted to thank you personally. I'd forgotten about that. Signed the check weeks ago. The thing is, Jennifer continues, the application we received this morning is particularly moving. A young woman from Kentucky, abusive marriage, no resources. She wants to study business. Her essay reminded me of something you said in that Forbes interview about how education saves lives. My throat tightens. Fund her fully, whatever she needs. Really, that's incredibly generous. And Jennifer, Keep track of women like her. Everyone who applies, I want to know their stories. Of course. Thank you, Ms. Hart. I hang up and stare at the city lights. Maybe revenge isn't about destroying the people who hurt you. Maybe it's about becoming so powerful that you can help the people they would have destroyed next. Maybe it's about taking your broken pieces and building something that means girls like I was, like Vanessa was, like whoever that woman in Kentucky is, don't have to stay broken. I pick up the phone again, call my assistant. Clear my afternoon tomorrow. I want to visit the new scholarship center and start researching rural business incubators. If we can replicate what worked for me, scale it. Ideas flow, plans form. For the first time in 5 years, I'm not thinking about Marcus or Vanessa. I'm thinking about the next Alina, the one who's still in that farmhouse kitchen, believing she's small. I'm thinking about how to tell her she's not. That she's exactly as big as she decides to be. And revenge. Real revenge isn't making your enemies small. It's making yourself so impossibly large that they disappear in your shadow. I smile at my reflection in the window. The woman in the expensive suit. The woman who owns this city. The woman who survived. Not bad for a village girl, I say to her. She smiles back. We've both earned it.